Earlier this year, I reviewed the original classic of The Exorcist. Now, please bear with me. I'm skipping Exorcist to the Heretic. I might review it another time if you want me to. But for now, let's talk about The Exorcist 3 right now. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to y'all as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1990 psychological horror flick sequel, The Exorcist Iii. Written and directed by William Peter Blatty, who wrote The Exorcist. It's the third installment of the Exorcist series and is an adaptation of Blatty's Exorcist novel Legion from 1983. The film stars George C. Scott, Ed Flanders, Jason Miller, Scott Wilson, and Brad Douriff, who of course that same year returned as the voice of Chucky in Child's Play 2. Anyway, the film, which was originally released by Fox for Morgan Creek Productions, I got a little, sorry. Anyway, before Warner Brothers even got the rights to distribute films for the studio, but it was Fox that originally released the film when it first came out. Now, despite the title, it takes place 17 years later after the original and completely ignores Exorcist to the Heretic, which that would possibly explain why I'm skipping that in a way. Now, it follows a character from the first film, though, Lieutenant Kinderman, who is played by legendary actor George C. Scott, who investigates a series of demonic murders in Georgetown that have the hallmarks of the Gemini, a deceased serial killer. Now, according to Blatty, he based aspects of the Gemini killer on the real-life Zodiac killer, one of several serial killers who enjoyed the original Exorcist. Anyway, so, let me see. I'm trying to get a word here. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to try and talk more about how this turned out. For now, let's get started on our story. Well, this takes years after the exorcism of Reagan McNeil. Now, Father Dyer and Lieutenant Kinderman reminisce about Father Damien Karras. The following night, an incident at a church occurs indicating the presence of an evil supernatural entity which causes a crucifix to come to life. The next scene then follows with the perspective of a man walking on the street speaking of a dream of falling down a long flight of steps, suggesting that someone is committing murders linked to Karras' death. The next morning, Kinderman is called to find the body of Thomas Kentry, a black youth. The fingerprints at the crime scenes do not match, indicating a different person was responsible for each murder. Kinderman reveals to the hospital staff that the murders fit the modus operandi of James Veneman, that's Brad Douriff, or the Gemini Killer, a serial killer who was executed 15 years prior. Kinderman visits the head of a psychiatric ward, Dr. Temple, that's Scott Wilson, who relates the history of one of his patients. The patient was found wandering aimlessly 15 years previously with amnesia. He was locked up, catatonic, until he became violent and claimed to be the Gemini Killer. Kinderman sees that the patient is his old friend Damien Karras, played by Jason Miller. Karras' form appears to briefly change into that of the Gemini Killer. He expresses ignorance of Karras', but boasts of killing Father Dyer. Now that night, a nurse is murdered and Dr. Temple commits suicide. Kinderman returns to see Karras, who once again changes into the Gemini Killer. And he explains that he is being aided by a master, the same entity who had previously possessed Reagan. The master was furious at being exorcised by Carius and is exacting its revenge by using Karis's body as a conduit for the Gemini to continue his killing spree. Each evening, the soul of the Gemini leaves the body of Karis and possesses the other patients elsewhere in the hospital, using them to commit the murders. The Gemini also reveals he had forced Dr. Temple to bring Kinderman to him. Okay, now to get to the ending of this movie, you have 5 seconds to stop this video if you've not seen this. So go to the description box below and fast forward to the time below to avoid ending spoilers. If you have seen the movie, please continue on. Here's your 5 seconds to stop. Okay, you've been warned. Now, in the last act of the movie, the Gemini possesses an old woman and attempts to murder Kinderman and his family at their home. Which I gotta say, that was really a shocking scene and what have you. But the attack abruptly ends when Father Paul Morning, played by Nicole Williamson, arrives at the hospital and begins to perform an exorcism on Karis. The master intervenes, taking over Karis's body, and Morning is severely mutilated. That is one of the few, ooh, that's gotta hurt bits. Yeah. Anyway, now where was I? Oh, yes. Kinderman rushes back to the hospital and attempts to euthanize Karis. The possessed Karis then torments and attempts to kill Kinderman. Morning manages to regain consciousness and tells Karis to fight. Karis regains his free will briefly and cries to Kinderman to shoot, killing Karis and freeing him both from the Gemini and his master. Later, Kinderman watches Karis' funeral and everything. And I am going to say, end of story, my friends. So, what I think of The Exorcist Iii, well, I'm going to say after I finally watched it all completely, because I have seen bits of it long ago, but I hadn't recalled watching a whole lot of this. I may have seen, but I have a little bit of remembrances of this, you know. But anyway, I'm going to say it was good. It was a big redemption, what have you. Despite the failure of the last one, The Exorcist III was a modest return, did a modest return at the box office. Even despite it got mixed reviews and what have you. Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, the film opened at number 1 at the box office with $9 million. It went on to make $39 million worldwide. Most of it was $26 million here in the U.S. So, I'm going to say most of it was pretty good. It was kind of a little strange, though, but, well, good. But still not as good as the classic, though. But it's got a few good shocking moments and possibly a few jump scares. Well, some stuff almost did give me a jump scare, but they didn't. Now, I liked William Peter Blatty's directing and what have you, and the story's good. I like the cast performances, George C. Scott and Brad Douriff's performances especially. Anyway, now, let me see. Now, William Friedkin, well, was attached to direct this, who directed the original, but he left the project, so Blatty adapted the script into his best-selling novel, Legion. So, Morgan Creek bought the film rights with Blatty as the director. But due to his frustration, the studio demanded extensive last-minute changes, including the addition of an exorcism sequence for the climax. Now, though some of the original footage appears permanently lost, years later, Scream Factory released a special director's cut closer to Blatty's vision in 2016 with footage assembled from various sources. So, I've never actually seen the director's cut, just the original, but I'm sure I'm sure a lot of y'all might have that special director's cut, which I think it's only on Blu-ray, but well, if so, I hope that's pretty intense. So anyway, like I said, story's pretty good, and Mr. Bly's directing was good. Some of the cast was pretty good, and some of the horrifying sequences were pretty shocking too. So the question is, would I recommend The Exorcist III? Well, I'm gonna say sure, go ahead. If you're a completionist of The Exorcist, I'd say give it a try. Also, let's see, and this did have a pretty good score too by Barry DeVorzan. Not quite as good as the original though, but it manages to get up there. We hear a little bit of tubular bells in the beginning, of course, the theme to the first movie. So, The Exorcist 3, well, it's well worth looking into, okay? So anyway, what are your thoughts on The Exorcist 3? Please tell me in the comments section below. If you like this, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel as well, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Alright, join me next time when I bring to you a special big vid when I review all 4 installments of Disney's Halloween Town series. So thank you for watching, and if you like this, see these other videos. I was wanting to put up in a card in case you haven't caught it, but I'm sure y'all have seen it already. But in case you haven't, or if you want to see it again, go to the upper left-hand corner for my review of the original Exorcist. Or if you want something more demonic, go to the upper right-hand corner for my playlist of the Omen series, which I did earlier this year. Or if you want something more scary, and bloody, go to the bottom left-hand corner for my recent review of Clive Barker's Hellraiser. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Oh, and I'm just 6 more subs away from reaching 250. Thanks. Until next time, everyone, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.